What's up, guys? Today we're going to react to a video by Aether Song about the recent Blue Protocol dev live stream. So I know this is a bit late for me to react to this because the dev live stream was like a week ago, and you guys probably already know I was on vacation during the live stream. I actually planned to watch the live stream while on vacation, but what happened was I got too tired, too distracted that I forgot. Like I even missed the code for the 10 free gotcha tickets. Like Jesus, man. I wanted those gotcha tickets so bad, but well, the game the game doesn't want me to have them. So yeah, well, here we are. I'm going to watch the video and kind of like show you guys my own personal thoughts as well. Like I know like they've they are going in the right direction. Like as the title says in this video, like they are, and we probably will be saying the same thing. I probably will be saying the same things as Aether Song eventually. So let's dive right in.
Hello everyone, Ethersong here. In the latest Blue Protocol stream, the developers have announced a number of changes coming to the game. The stream began by trying to address many of the problems the fanbase has been vocal about. This is most likely because of the negative feedback to last month's
Yep.
stream and the state of the game.
So the problem with the last month's stream is that the showcase for Blitz Lancer was pretty awful. Like it seemed like they didn't know what they were doing. Like it wasn't just the Blitz Lancer showcase. There was another showcase about this new Imagine from the season pass, which was a Jake Imagine, I think, and that was kind of horrible too. Like they didn't even like they activated like no deaths for the mobs, but they didn't even activate no cooldowns. If they wanted to demonstrate the skills and all that, they should have activated no cooldowns, right? So, well, apart from that, like people are complaining about a lot of quality of life stuff from the game and the lack of content. Personally, the lack of content, I can forgive that for now because I don't really think there's that much of a lack of content. I think the problem really is in terms of content is that there is no content for the hardcore players. Like most of the content is really for the casuals. Although the competitions, time attack and score attack, if you want to rank high, you have to play hardcore. You have to because every day the how do I say it? The ranking, the scores are increasing. Like one day I was like looking at, oh, the top score is still 1 million, and the next day it was like 5 million. What the fuck? How are these people playing? Like it's just amazing how they do that. So yeah, like most of the content is for casuals. Like even the raids, like they have they have the foundation to make like really challenging and good raids, and I hope they build upon that. I hope they don't make the same mistake that Sega has done with their game NGS. I really still, I mean, I don't hate NGS, but I really think it hasn't really improved that all that much from the beginning. So like, I hope they don't uh, take the same path as they do, and I hope they like keep improving upon their content instead of just repeating the same content over and over again. So the raids are cool, but their intention for the raids is just to farm GC. That's all. It's not meant to be challenging, and it's we do get different bosses. They rotate between different elements, but it's the same boss with just a different skin, a different element. So long term, that's going to be a problem. I can forgive that now. Because what? It's like it's still 3 months, right? So like the real turning point for the game is after 1 year. Like that's what I'm gonna say. So like a lot of UI stuff, a lot of also the open world farming. The open world farming I think is at the moment kind of boring because of how the mobs are like designed, like how they spawn. The AI is fine, but like the problem is how they spawn. They spawn one by one. They spawn like on a timer, I think, after you kill that monster, and then they respawn after a timer. The problem with that is that it can easily be botted and macroed, and like I can't even get mad at people who bought in macro because like the game it's kind of like the game is built to be botted in macro. So they need to make change. I think I've said this before in a different video, in a past video, I think, but yeah, I'm just gonna say it again now. They need to like change it in a way that it discourages players from just standing still. Because right now, if you're a ranged character, it doesn't like it doesn't really give you that much of advantage if you like move around compared to like just standing still and spamming your skills, right? And then the melee right now is like they kind of suck for open world grinding. That's why I leveled a blast archer for open world grinding specifically so that it doesn't, it's not like hard to do. Because the thing with melee is that if you have ranged people around you, the moment so you have to like if you're melee, you have to like walk to the target, right? Or run to the target. The moment you reach your target, it's probably already dead. So like your effort of like trying to go from point A to point B to that mob is just wasted most of the time. Like I don't even care if I have a melee in my party. I don't even care if they AFK because I can understand. Because I started as melee. I started as what was that again? Aegis fighter. So I started as Aegis fighter, and man, I cannot tell you how horrible the experience is in open world grinding. Bossing, on the other hand, is very fun for melee because there's a lot of dodging and blocking involved. And yeah, like the bosses actually are pretty fun. They're not like super duper hard. There are some that are hard if you try to solo them and like really challenging to fight. But they're not at the moment. There's nothing like super duper hard where you have to really rack your brains to like defeat. But at least they are actually challenging, and I really like the time attack and score attack, the competitions this game because like if I compare it to NGS Arcs records, the Arcs records is just basically the same dungeon that you do, even when the Arcs records is not active. In time attack and score attack, the dungeon changes. Like the starting point can change, the ending point can change. Like they add some different elements to the dungeon. I like that. That should have been how Arcs record should have been in NGS if they really thought about it. But no, they didn't care. So yeah, I like that aspect actually. But still, like I know there are like really hardcore players out there, people that really want to grind, and the grind part, I think they're addressing that a bit. There is a grind right now, like the grind for beta skills and like perfect plugs, but I think it doesn't really satisfy a lot of people. So I there is this other the limit break, which will probably be discussed here. The limit break is probably going to be like a good linear grind. So I think a game needs a good linear grind and like a good RNG grind as well. It has to be balanced because if all the grinding is RNG, at some point it like there's like a point of diminishing returns, right? Like if it's so rare that if you spend like 900 hours already on it, I think at that point it's just useless to farm that. So I personally am an advocate of like linear grinding. Like, if you just, farm for 30 hours, you get this weapon, that weapon, right? I actually prefer that over RNG grinding because RNG you could be spending 100 hours and you may not get what you need or want, right? So yeah, I've said a lot already. Either song hasn't even started explaining it, so let's continue watching his video.
To begin, many players have been requesting for the game's UI to be improved. This has been something that has been talked about as far back as the closed beta test. One area I often see brought up is the full screen menu. Most online games allow quests, inventory, or other information to be opened in individual windows.
Okay, so I get what they mean. Like in other games, there's a lot of UI customization. Don't get me wrong, this game does have UI customization, but it's very, very limited. So you often find yourself having to open the full screen menu to like look things up instead of like having like a small widget to decide here and there, right? So that's I think is what they mean by the UI problem.
Protocol has everything consolidated into a full screen menu.
Yeah,
This
that's the
means that
problem.
the developers have
I mean, I don't. To me, honestly, it's not really a problem, but it would be a bigger convenience if we could like have them in like tiny windows and stuff. But I think so. This is what I think. I don't think they're gonna be able to change that, and the reason is this game is, I think, more developed for consoles. Even though it was released on PC first, like hear me out. Like you can easily tell how the UI works, how everything like looks and how they work. It is they designed it for console. It's probably gonna be the same for console. Like it's just like NGS actually. Like NGS is actually a lot designed for console because that game doesn't even have UI customization. This game has it, which makes it like already better in that regard. So and yeah, excuse me, I'm gonna be comparing this game to NGS a lot because I think I mentioned this a lot before. I've played NGS a lot before, and this is like the closest anime MMO that I could compare it to, basically. And they have a lot of similarities as well. So there's a lot of actually like to me, Blue Protocol is a lot better than NGS. Like no questions asked. Like it's just a lot better. And but anyway, I'll expand later on that after we finish the video. So let's just continue for now.
had to develop other means of displaying such things as quest info on screen. Beyond that, there are parts of this menu and other UI elements that are hard to navigate or cumbersome. The developer
I wouldn't say hard to navigate, but cumbersome. Yeah, that's true. If they could like, I mean, there's a lot of ways they can approach this, right? I just hope that. Well, I mean, everyone's hoping that they could probably make it less cumbersome. Well, let's just see it. To me personally, it doesn't really affect me all that much. I don't really care.
have received various feedback in regards to the UI and will be working to make adjustments to improve it. Although changes to design or large-scale adjustments will require more time.
That's
To
true.
start, they are going to improve the interface when adding plugs to weapons, so players don't have to reselect a weapon again
Oh, okay.
when adding
That one needs to be changed because that is a hassle.
multiple plugs. Next up, the developers have talked about adding more difficult content to the game.
There we
They
go.
noted how difficult content can be a way for players to sense the progression they have
Nice,
made
nice,
from
this is
both
good.
gear and player skill. Personally, I have mixed feelings about this. While
See, okay,
high
okay. So here, oh my God, this is what I'm talking about. So the thing is difficult content or like super hard content is a double-edged sword because the casuals and the F2P, they're gonna start complaining. Because at the end of the day, it's gonna be the whales and the hardcore players that are going to own this fucking content, man. It is what it is. That's just how it is. And to me personally, even if I were playing a casual, I wouldn't mind having super hard content. I think there should be super hard content because in a way, you kind of have to satisfy both ends of the spectrum in a balanced way, right? So there has to be content for the casuals and there has to be content for the hardcore players. Now I know what Song is going to say here. He has mixed feelings because he's probably a casual. So he's probably thinking, oh, I'm probably not going to be able to enjoy this content. There's probably going to be a lot of gatekeeping and stuff, right? The whales are going to dominate. And that's true. Because that's just how it is. It is what it is. Even in it's not just in this game, in any game where there is super hard difficult content, only those people who exert the effort or put the money in are going to be able to enjoy it. That's just how it is. Like I have like my guild in NGS. My guild is composed of a lot of casuals, and they've complained a lot. Like I've tried to encourage them to farm. I've given them targets. This should be your gear. Like I've given them mid tier targets, not even super geared end game targets, and they still complain. So like yeah, like you're not gonna change a casual's mind because especially if that person was just a casual through and through all his life, right? Like if it's someone like me, like sometimes I don't really grind too hard in some games. Like I choose to be casual in some games. Like I would understand. Like here in Blue Protocol right now, I'm pretty much like a semi-casual or semi-hardcore. Like I'm somewhere in between, and like I would prefer if there was hardcore content because that is a good way to like keep the hardcore people playing. Like even it could potentially turn casuals into hardcore as well if the content is good. So I hope there's a lot of ways they could introduce this. One way is I hope is a raid, a 30-man raid that is actually difficult. That is not just one map and we fight the boss right away. What if it's a 30-man raid with like different stages, like a tower or something, and like you have objectives and the loot. The loot is very important. The loot has to be good. I mean, in some cases it doesn't, but the loot has to be decent enough that people actually want to do the content because like there are a lot of games out there these days that they have this super cool sorry, super cool boss, super nice mechanics, and the loot is shit. So we only do it once and then never come back again. So I hope that they don't. Again, I hope they don't follow NGS because NGS pretty much did that. They have like a super cool boss, but the loot is bullshit. So like people don't really want to keep repeating that over and over again. So yeah, let's continue watching.
Difficulty content can be enjoyable, I would have to say that Blue Protocol, overall, is a game made for more casual players.
Yep, that's true.
Many players may not be interested in content like this. As such, if difficult content becomes mandatory for gear or progression, it could even drive away parts of the player base.
That's true. So how am I gonna say this? There should still be a way to like carry people. It should still be like, how do I say? It should be designed so that the hardcore people can carry the casual people, so that the casual players can still like enjoy it, right? So like they could help, like we could help, say the hardcore players can help the casuals gear up, right? So that should be, I think that's how it should be.
For focusing on adding difficult content, I believe lifestyle features such as player housing and ways to interact with other players should be...
Okay, listen. Social features like that are cool, but they should not be the priority. They should not be the priority. Like, look at NGS. Again, I'm gonna give NGS as an example. Like, I quit right as they announced the player housing. You wanna know why? Because it was treated as major content. Imagine that. Player housing should not be major content, guys. It should be like side content only. So that wasn't even the main turning point for me to quit NGS. Like the real turning point for me to quit NGS was Ancients. So let me explain. If you played NGS, Ancients were a new type of boss they added in Kavaris, right? And the way that Ancients worked is that they would respawn on a timer, and they would drop these parts that can only be used for a specific weapon, and they're not even tradable. And like the loot is just bad in general. Like you would go there to farm untradable loot for no other reason, and the way to spawn the boss is a timer. Like they could have just copied like other games where you kill X amount of monsters to spawn the boss. That would have been so much more interactive with other players. Instead, what happened was people were abusing it. They would like fire up their alts. They would lock a room with their alts, so that when they finish killing one ancient, they would go to that alt's room, and then the alt would then go make another room to like start the cooldown for the next ancient. So it was very, very easily abused, and it became boring very, very fast. Because what happened was, when you finish the crafting the weapon that you wanted, you'd be done. Like, there would be no more reason to be doing that content again. And another problem with Sega, with NGS, is that they they don't know how to like, they're not very good at consistency. Like, they have this super good content, and they just throw it away the next major patch. It's not even like, it's not even there. They don't even try to like, you know, like, what's the right term? They don't even try to improve on it. Like, there are only two pieces of good content that NGS has ever released. Number one is Dark Falls R2, the R.2 Dark Falls. That was so fucking awesome. It was only 4 man, but it was so fucking awesome, man. And the other one is Ordinal Tower. Now, Ordinal Tower, I actually already quit just as that content was being released, and I actually returned to the game when Slayer was released. Slayer was awesome, and I tried Ordinal Tower, and I loved it. They should have been doing more content like Ordinal Tower and Dark Falls R2, but they decided not to, and I don't I don't get it. I don't understand. And now they have that Lucille thing, and I think it's boring. Sorry, like, some people might enjoy it, but I think it's not really that fun. So yeah, like, player housing, it's cool, but it should not be a priority. Like, or, well, not, I wouldn't say not a priority. It shouldn't be the highlight of an update. Please do not make the same mistake that Sega did. Player housing should not be the highlight of an update. It should just be a side update. Please, 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 Bandai, please.
of higher priority. And if difficult content is added, it should be done so in a way as to not harm its casual player base.
Exactly. That's what I'm
The
trying to
next
say.
point of
It should be designed so that casuals can still go in, but they would be carried you know, by the hardcores or the whales, right? So, like, I hope there isn't like, I mean, it's really hard to, like, I can't just say there shouldn't be, like, BP gates or battle power gates. There should be battle power gates, but it should be made that it should, how do I say, like, they can make different levels for this, right? Like, there's like the difficult content, and there's like the super difficult content. So if there's gear, the gear should only be attached to like the difficult level. Like, the super difficult content should probably reward something else, or like the base gear should come from the difficult level content. And then if there's a super difficult content, that should be where, items that you could use for improving the base gear, something like that. Like, make it a step up thing, but don't make it like a requirement to actually even craft, the base weapon or something. Like, that's just an idea that I have.
feedback was a request for improvements to be made to the dev streams in regards to showing videos and giving explanations. This is
Okay.
most likely feedback as a result of last month's dev
Yeah, the
stream,
Blitz
where the
Lancer.
developers failed to explain what the new class does and had 10 minutes of gameplay without
so-
any commentary.
I think so. Hear me out. I think they were trying to, like, how do I explain this? If you guys have watched the live stream for Final Fantasy 16, where the combat director played the game himself and showed off, right? So I think they were trying to copy that, because that, I think, in a way, that does like forge a connection between the developers and the player, right? But the problem is they did not do it right, the way the Blue Protocol dev team did it. They did not do it right, because they did not show off. They suck. The gameplay was bad. That's all. Like, if they wanted to show it off, it should have been a 1v1 battle with the boss, right? And then you can show the dodge and how you would beat up the boss. That's how it should have been. Not a stupid dungeon that, like they probably didn't even like train for that or something. They didn't practice or something. If you were to ask me like how I would demo Blitzlancer, it should have been like against a boss, and then it would have been better if there were like pre-recorded, like video segments of each skill on top of like having a live demo, right? That would have been the right call, but I don't know. They were trying to copy the Final Fantasy 16 stream thing, but they failed miserably. I appreciate their effort, but they should have probably practiced more a bit, or probably prepared a backup or something. But it is what it is.
The developers have taken this feedback to heart and are working to improve the quality of their dev streams as well. They plan to do this by adding more videos showing off new features. In addition, when they play the game live, they plan to split roles between the person playing and a person giving commentary.
Okay, that's good.
Continuing on, the next feature players have requested is to be able to equip more skills. Currently,
Okay, I
only
saw
4
this.
skills can be equipped, but the developer showed later in the stream that they plan to add a palette system, making
That's
it
good,
possible
actually.
to switch
So-
between two.
To be fair, like 4 skills are kind of enough to do a full rotation because the cooldown will probably finish, will most likely finish after using all 4 skills. Like I've never had any cooldown problems with my skill rotations, but there are a lot of other useful skills in the kit, such as buffs and debuffs or heals. Those things we tend to like how do I say, set them aside because there's no space. Like they're not really crucial for the combo rotation. So like they tend to be, like, oh, I'm just not gonna use this because I only have 4 skills. But now, so there's a number 3. That could mean there will be 3 palettes, hopefully. So if there are 3 palettes, we pretty much can use every freaking skill. That's fucking awesome. So yeah, this is good. It's very good.
2 sets of 4 skills, allowing for a total of 8 skills to be
Okay,
equipped.
so what is the 3 then? Oh, that's probably the key to like change. Okay. That's the key to change the swap. So it's only 8 skills. Well, 8 skills was plenty already. That's good.
On one hand, being able to equip 8 skills seems like a big improvement for the game. However, I am worried about their implementation of it. Is having to switch between 2 sets of skills necessary? Wouldn't it be easier if all skills could be accessed without swapping?
That's actually good too. Like BDO for example. Instead of putting the skills in the hotbar, you just have a key combination to activate them. I think if they can copy BDO, it would be better. But I don't know if it would work for this game in particular. We will have to see.
Can't help but shake the feeling that many of the poor UI and system elements of the game are because of limitations from using the controller also being applied to players.
There we go. That's what I said. This game is being developed for console. That's why it's being limited by the console's capabilities, basically.
To use a keyboard and mouse. Hopefully,
But this looks pretty good though. Like, I'm not gonna complain about this. This looks pretty good.
developers also keep ease of use with a keyboard and mouse in mind when developing the game. The next point the developers addressed was being able to change classes outside of town.
Oh,
Currently, players
perfect.
can only
Yes,
change your
I
classes
love this.
in town,
Please.
but the developers are looking at some
Please let us
quality
change
of life
classes.
improvements to allow players to do this in field areas as well. Moving on, the next part of feedback was players requesting to be able to start missions with a small number of players. Currently, missions don't start until all 6 players
Oh,
are found.
okay. I get
But
it.
there are times when matchmaking is slow. It seems like players want to be
But then they have to like add like scaling to that, HP scaling, because I don't know, like there's a solo version. It has a different HP scaling and stat scaling. If they're going to allow like incomplete number of players to go in, like 2, 3, 4, 5, There has to be HP scaling.
Be able to start progressing through the mission while waiting for the remaining players to be found. The developers said that they are looking at implementing a system like this. However, this honestly seems to be ignoring the root of the problem. That being that there are simply not enough people doing the matchmaking for certain missions.
So, okay, that's not exactly true. I mean, okay, it is true, but only for missions that only need to be done once, right? So like obviously if just like the ancients example, there are contents here that you only need to do once for the title, or like a certain drop or some gotcha tickets, right? Like the tower, for example, you don't really need to farm the tower, but the goal is to basically do it once. So like if you haven't played the game and the tower was updated, and you haven't played the game in a while, you're gonna have a hard time finding people to complete it. So you're gonna have to like invite like friends or whatever instead of doing the pub queue.
Most likely become even a larger issue as more missions are added to the game. I don't think allowing players to start missions early during matchmaking is the correct fix for this problem. Blue Protocol should perhaps consider adding something like Final Fantasy XIV's Duty Roulette. This could help fill the gaps in the matchmaking.
What is the Duty Roulette in Final Fantasy 14? I don't know. Is it like an NPC thing? Like NPCs join the party? I don't know if that's a good solution either. I think being able to start without a full party is good if they add scaling. So that will be fair, right? Like if you start with 3 people but the HP scaling is still like at 100%, then that's not going to be fair. It's going to be harder for the whole party.
Next up was feedback in regards to the Gacha pity system. Currently,
Okay, they changed this.
110 rolls, you get a box that gives you a random
Yep,
S rank
horrible.
Gacha item.
It's S rank, but it's
This is
horrible.
being
It's
changed to give you a
random.
box that allows you to select a S rank Gacha item.
That's good.
They're also looking at giving players more opportunities to get Gacha tickets for free.
Okay,
Adding
that's
a
nice.
proper pity system is a step in the right direction, but honestly, the monetization system as a whole in this game is way overdone. I
Yep.
personally can't wait for the day when gacha and loot boxes become properly regulated.
So
The second
the problem with the gacha in Blue Protocol is that number one, it's expensive. Well, that is the only problem. It's very expensive. And well, number two is the pity system kind of sucks, because in other games you get pity at 20 rolls, 40 rolls, 60 rolls, but this game 110 rolls. I'm glad that they're changing the 110 roll and the 220 roll to a selection box instead of the random S rank. That was so stupid. I'm glad they changed that. And also, again, the pity system, part of their pity system is the BPP store, right? So the BPP store, you trade in items you don't like for BP points, and then you can buy stuff from the banners. You can select stuff from the banners with that, right? So the problem with that compared to other gacha games is that it is kind of like a pseudo pity, right? So in other games, you roll like 60 times. You get to keep the items that you rolled for even if you don't like them, and you get the pity. But here you have to trade them in. So like it's like you're losing stuff eventually, right? So that I think needs to change. I think the one way they could change that is that they need to increase the points you get for trading in. Like I think that would be, if they want to keep the system, they need to keep increasing the points, and they need to reduce the pity to like 20 rolls, 40 rolls, or 60 rolls, please. Or reduce the price of the gacha. You gotta be competitive with the other gacha guys. Like, I mean, the whales are gonna be spending money anyway, but like for the mid spenders or low spenders, you gotta, you want their money too, right? Let's just do it. Let's do it. Especially because a lot of the lower tier items are kind of useless in the gacha. Like there's dies and tickets and stuff. They're not really that useful, but in a way it is a good thing because it's not pay to win. But at the same time, if you're gonna spend money, like Like I myself, I'm only limiting myself to 20 pulls per banner because that's how you get the emotes, up to 20 pulls. Hopefully they're not gonna increase that. Please don't increase that. And then like anything after that is kind of useless because if you get junk along the way, if you get a lot of junk and you reach 110 pulls, that's kind of not worth it anymore, right? Like what are you gonna do with all the junk? Like there's a lot of like junk that I've got from pulling that I don't even use. Like maybe if they added a like 4 slot guaranteed ticket, that would be cool, but they don't. So yeah.
Half of the broadcast focused on a roadmap of things to come, along with a
Okay,
few
that's
other
I saw that.
announcements. In the roadmap, we got our first look at what is coming next month in October.
October.
This is a major update that includes the 4th chapter of the story.
Yep.
In addition, the level cap is being raised. Personally, instead of a constant level treadmill, I wish there was more depth and diversity added to gear and player builds. I would love to see something like a class specialization system added in the future.
I mean, that's probably gonna come. That's probably gonna come, but I think it's too early for that at the moment.
In November, the new skill palette is being added. And then in
November.
December, a limit break system for gear and a new game mode called Defense Battle is being added.
Okay, defense battle is gonna be like mining rig defense in NGS PSO2 probably. I hope it's not exactly the same, but I don't know. Like, I hope it's good. Also, the limit break is December. That's actually pretty far, but I'll take it. I'll take it.
The Defense Battle is a game mode for 18 players to work together and defend the gate to the city. It seems like there will be a little more than just defending, but we will have to wait for more details.
Okay.
The limit break system allows for 2 gears of the same type to be combined to increase the strength of the gear. Apart
Okay.
from this, a new special event summon is also planned.
Oh,
It
I've
can be
already
used
have
normally
that.
for
I
a
already
large
used
scale
that.
attack, but it is also possible to hold down the Battle Imagine button to fuse with it.
It just kind of sucks that it's limited time. If you're playing Blue Protocol right now, it's only limited time. It's like 60. It's 2 months. My guess is that they're experimenting on this. That's why it's limited. I do hope they add a permanent version of this, or they should let all. Okay, maybe not all. They should add Imagine that can do this that are permanent.
instead and gain a number of buffs. Starting on September 20th, a Halloween event
this is
will
already
be held in
active
game
right
as
now.
well. In addition, Halloween Gacha will also be coming. These Gacha include a number of outfits and a new broom mount that looks
I
pretty neat.
actually kind of like the broom
From
mount,
doing
to be
Gacha a
fair.
set number of times, some gestures can also be unlocked.
Okay, the gestures. This one, I'm pointing it, but you can see. The second one from the left is what I want. Oh man, I hate this. The male and female are separate. It should be all in one. Like this is kind of predatory because they put if you're male, you're lucky if you're male because you only have to do 10 pulls. But if you're female, oh my god. I don't know. I have a lot of free gacha tickets, to be fair. I have enough free gacha tickets to pull. And I mean I can spend money. I'm not like a big whale, but I do have the money to spend for it. I'm still thinking about it, okay? But I kind of do want to get the emotes because they're pretty cute. And I might snag a costume while I'm at it, or a mount.
Blue Protocol will also be making an appearance at Tokyo Game Show.
Okay, this is already
There will
done.
be a photo corner, a real-life
Yeah, it's
gacha
already done. I've
with some
already
pin
seen
badges,
this.
and a chance to win a t-shirt.
This is not
They
really
will
new
also be
anymore.
holding a developer live stream on stage.
Yep, this is done.
Overall, this broadcast seemed like a big step up from the last one.
True.
It was great to see the developers focusing on improving various parts of the game and their live stream as well. It is also refreshing to see them so open to listening to their community,
That's
even
the
if their
most
approach
important
to
thing.
addressing some of these changes worries me. I don't think the changes in this stream alone will fix all the problems with the game, but it is a good start, and I hope to see them continuing to improve the game moving forward. What do you think of this stream? Let me know in the comments, and I hope to see you next time. Later!
All right. So, I think I've said most of my thoughts at the very start of the stream, so it's good. I like the changes that they're going to make. I do hope, I did hope that, I do kind of hope that it would have come sooner because, well, actually, it is pretty near because it's already October, and then actually, it's not that long. I was thinking, yeah, like my mind was like pretty, yeah, it is pretty near actually. November, December, October, right? So, yeah, like I'm pretty excited for the defense thing. I hope it's not as boring as mining defense in I hope it's not like the raids that we have now. Because the raids that we have now, there's not really a lot of strategy into it. Like there is a little bit of strategy if you're like using the cannon, but I want I want the game to be like a communicative type of game. You know, like people talking, like giving orders. I would prefer that than, you know, like just being there, participating, not even talking to other people. Because that's what an MMO should be. We should be able to talk to people, right? We should be talking to people, like what to do, giving them orders, like how to react in this situation. That would be like the ultimate, that would be my wish for the mining. I mean, why do I call it mining defense? The defense thing. I hope it's like that, and I hope it's not as boring as NGS mining defense. So yeah, there's still a lot of things to be fixed, but they are going in the right direction. I'm gonna keep playing this game until it shuts down, guys. That's because they haven't. I mean, okay, maybe that's like too good to be true. I'm going to play the game until it disappoints me. There, that's more realistic, right? Because that's what I did with NGS basically. Well, the thing with NGS is like that I gave it the benefit of the doubt too much. Like 1 year, 2 years, I was saying, okay, after 2 years, it's still fine, but it's still shit. It's still shit. I'm sorry. So I hope this game does not disappoint me as well. I wish all the best for the developers. I hope they keep improving the game. So I'm pretty excited for the difficult content. So I'm guessing that's gonna come next year, unless they try to insert it or something. Well, maybe better if it comes next year so that they have time to like develop think about it. So yeah, that's it for now, guys. I will link this video in the description below. Give Ader Song a like and a subscribe. I will see you guys again in the next video. Bye bye. Otsukuro. Dane.